Hello, this is Johnny Henson, Professor Poole with Billiard University out of Goodyear, Arizona. Today I want to talk to you. Let's say that you're one of the top 100 men or women players in the world and you really want to take your game to that next level. Right now you're already a really good pool player. You're one of the best players in the world. I understand that. But if you want to take your game to that next level, let's say you're top 50 and you want to be top 10. Let's say you're top 100 and you want to be top 30 or 40. I can do that. I can get you there. And so I'm going to cover some of that in today's video. And if you're interested at all, then contact me. Right now, you're already a really good pool player. Let's say you're one of the top 100 players in the world. You're already a really good pool player. I'm not going to take that away from you. But what I want to do is I want to fine tune you. I want to tweak you. I want to take different aspects of your game to that elite level. And if you're willing to work and you're willing to buy in to what I'm trying to teach you, there's no reason why I can't take your game to maybe the best player in the world. Because I don't know how good you can be. I just know I can get you much better than you are right now. I just want all of you to know that on day 3 of my seminar, I have my pool students actually watch YouTube videos of different professionals shooting pool, in professional matches. And the purpose of this is once they understand the 10 parts of the stroke and they understand what a perfect stroke is, then I tell them, I want you to watch film of these professionals. Now, these are the best players in the world. These are professional tournaments, not amateur. And I want you to pick out the flaws that these players have in their strokes. And most of my students are pretty amazed, because they're expecting, well, this is a professional pool player. He should have pretty much a perfect stroke. And they're saying, well, this person moved his head, he dropped his elbow, he had inconsistent bridge length, maybe a stroke length, maybe he kind of short stroked it, chased after it, whatever the flaw is. It's amazing that there's a lot of players that have very consistent flaws from shot to shot to shot. So I tell people you don't have to have a perfect stroke to be a professional pool player, but it's going to be real hard for you to take it to the upper echelons of the sport when you don't have a relatively perfect stroke, or at least something in the 90 percentile range from shot to shot to shot, game to game to game. I'm very confident that I can improve any player at any level, and there's no doubt in my mind that I can improve your game. I don't mean this to be any disrespect. If you're currently already working with a professional pool instructor, that's fine. But if you want to give me a chance to give you a second opinion on what you're doing or not doing, I welcome that also. But I'm being as a professional pool instructor, I have a lot of respect for my colleagues out there that are professional pool instructors also. What I would like to do is briefly go over the 10 parts of a perfect stroke. Some of you that have gone to different instructors, maybe you're already aware of these parts. But what I want to do in this video, because you're already a touring pro, I want to cover I want to cover this list in what I see on YouTube of what a lot of you players are not doing, or you're not doing at a world-class level. And because you're not doing it perfect or at a world-class level, it's costing you games, it's costing you matches, and it may even be costing you many spots in your world ranking. First of all, bridge length and stroke length. What I see on YouTube videos when I'm watching pros is many times, and it's not because of the layout of the table. We all know that when we're trying to go over the top of a ball, or let's say a ball is closer to another ball, sometimes you're limited on where you can put your hand. But what I'm looking for is, do I see a consistent bridge length and stroke length from players when there is no obstruction, when there's no reason for them not to do it perfect. So I see bridge length and stroke length inconsistencies with a lot of players, okay? A loose grip. I would say that for the most part, you take most of probably your top 10 players in the world, most of them have a very loose grip, and they probably work very hard on keeping a loose grip. I train people in a way of having a loose grip, but also a grip that also does not allow you to steer the stick with the back hand. And so when you have the stick on plane, your rear hand will have less effect on pulling that stick offline, okay? A level cue on the table, most professionals, I don't see a major flaw with this, but every once in a while I'll see somebody have their cue stick like this, maybe 2 inches above the table, and sometimes even higher than that. And I'm thinking, okay, what are you doing? I mean, you're a professional pool player. We all know that if the greatest players in the world really maintain a level cue as much as possible, and there's reason for that. And so these are just flaws that watching YouTube video on professionals. This is what I see. Okay, proper bridge, open or closed. I think most professional pool players have a pretty good bridge. I mean, I believe they worked on their bridges, and I don't see a major flaw a lot of time with bridges with professional pool players. So is there room for improvement? There's always room for improvement. So let's say that I take you from being a really good bridge to a great bridge. Well, that alone might add up to a missed shot here and there. But at your level, a missed shot here and there is huge. Pendulum. What's shocking to me is, most of you already have been exposed to the pendulum, and you need to contact your cue ball when your pendulum is straight up and down like this. Okay, it's surprising to me when I'm watching a lot of film of maybe not the top 10 players in the world, but other players, how inconsistent. Sometimes they're hitting the cue ball here, sometimes they're here. Something that I watched with some students, and they were just amazed, is this one professional would chase after, drop his elbow, and chase after every shot. Well, eventually he shot 3, 4, 5 shots, missed a fairly easy shot. The other guy got up and ran out on him. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but what I'm saying is he never truly learned to master the pendulum. Some of the top 10 players in the world, I've noticed that sometimes when they're contacting the cue ball, they're contacting it further up front, more into their finish position instead of here. But I noticed that when they do that, when they really want to amp up on a shot, they have to chase after it. They have to drop their elbow. And then they miss these easy shots. And these are some of the best players in the world. They're doing this. And it's showing me that there's a need for a different level of professional instruction, even for the top 100 players in the world. Okay? Cue ball address, I don't see that's a major problem with pros. Most pros that I've seen have a pretty darn good cue ball address. Their eye patterns, I will be honest with you, I have developed a world-class stroke. It's called the scientific stroke. I will promise you that your eye patterns are a way of dictating what your brain does. So if you think about it, if I give your brain one thing to do at a time, it's going to do it at a very high level. If I give your brain more than one thing to do it at the same time, it's not going to do it at a high level. Okay? So with that being said, the world-class stroke that I have developed, which is called scientific stroke, is not only the easiest stroke to master, it's the most consistent, and it's also the most accurate. Now that's some claims. So when I retrain people on their stroke, what I'm really retraining is their eye patterns or what I call their brain patterns. And the reason is I want to separate the parts of the stroke into different parts. And then therefore your brain is only doing one thing at a time. And if you give your brain one thing to do at a time, it's going to do it at a high level. Many pros that I watch on YouTube, they're running things together. Their brains on 2 or 3 different things at the same time. It's no wonder that they go up there and they miss what I would consider a very easy shot for a professional. They miss these kind of shots because their brain is on information overload and they're trying to do too many things at the same time. Slow backstroke. Most of the flaws I see in professionals, I also see in mid-range players, and I also see in beginners. I mean, some of the flaws of the stroke I see in all levels, and the reason is every one of those pros at one time was an amateur or a beginner, and what they did is they started developing a way of stroking their stick that felt comfortable with them, wasn't necessarily correct, and then they continued to do that when they were a high-level amateur, and now they're continuing to do that as a professional. Well, the higher you go up on the food chain, well then the less those mistakes are not little mistakes anymore. You miss one shot you shouldn't miss in a race to 5, you're probably going to lose the match. It's not a little mistake to you because you're a professional, okay? So that's what we got to focus on. We got to focus on there's no unimportant parts of the stroke. When I talk about the backstroke, I'm talking about having a smooth, slow backstroke that's very consistent from shot to shot to shot. I see a lot of pros that don't have what I call a really, really great backstroke. That's going to end up pulling their shot offline. They're going to end up some head or body motion because of that. When I see them missing shots, I look at the very center of their head, and I'm looking for any movement, whether it be back or forth or to one side or the other, and I see it. I see the movement. And the reason is because their backstroke, they pulled it back too quick, or they didn't have a distinct pause in their backstroke. And I think that as I train professionals, it's surprising how many top-level professionals, top 10 players in the world, totally have revamped their game with professional instruction. And the reason for that is they stagnated. And as they stagnated, they went to a professional instructor and they said, hey, what am I going to do to get my game going forward again? And sometimes you have to totally revamp some things, some parts of your game in order to do that. And having a slow, purposeful backstroke is one of those things that I believe every single pro, if he's not doing it already, needs to start developing. And the last part is, and this is something when I watch film that not all pros do this, okay? A smooth follow through to a finished position with no elbow drop, head or body motion, and freeze to evaluate for at least 3 to 5 seconds. Now I'll just repeat that, okay? Smooth follow through to a finished position with no elbow drop, head or body motion, and freeze to evaluate for 3 to 5 seconds. When I watch people on YouTube, especially players that I watch lose matches, I don't see them delivering the cue with no head motion or body motion. I don't see them delivering the cue without dropping their elbow, and and they're chasing after that shot. And guess what? When you get done watching this, and you just flip on YouTube if you think I'm fibbing to you, because I'm not fibbing. I'm telling you the truth. You know, there's a lot of bad strokes out there, even at the pro level. And a lot of these players, they really want to climb into, let's say, the top 50 or the top 10, and they're not going to do it because they don't have a good enough stroke to do it. I've developed a stroke called the scientific stroke. I think that if I taught that stroke to probably 10 professionals, I believe most of those professionals, after getting used to it in a short period of time, would switch from their old stroke to this new stroke. And the reason for that is it's the most consistent stroke, it's the most reliable stroke, and if it's consistent and it is reliable, I even find it relaxing, it's even relaxing to do, then there is really no reason not to make the switch over if it's going to help your game. So the scientific stroke, I believe, will be one of the cornerstones of what I'm going to retrain pros to do. And I believe once they get used to the scientific stroke, I believe it will be their stroke from now on. Uh, in revamping your game, let's say that you're redoing your stroke. Let's say you're switching over to, let's say, the scientific stroke, and you're revamping your game. What we have to really be focused on constantly is only getting rid of what's not working. Let's say there's a lot of parts of your game that are spot on, world class, and there's nothing wrong with it. We don't want to get rid of those. We want to keep those. Let's say there's certain areas of your game or your stroke that is not at that upper level. Well, then we're going to either tweak it or work on it to take it up to that next level. So my focus on training is it's not one size fits all. What I want to do is to treat each one of you as an individual. There's certain things I'm going to improve on your game, and there's certain things that you're already doing correctly. And if you're doing it correctly, I don't want to touch it at all. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke, then yeah, I'm pulling out some tools. We're going to work on it. I want to work with a lot of players on not running things together with their mind. And so I think of when you're thinking, and then you're preparing for a shot, and then your execution of the shot. Thinking, preparation, execution. I want to separate these things, and I want you to think of these as different parts. And that way, under game situations, under pressure, then what you're going to end up doing is having a process. And you're going to fall in love with the process. And the process is going to keep your heart rate down. It's going to keep your adrenaline down. It's going to keep you more relaxed and more fresh at the table. And you're going to play more natural. And that alone is going to make the game of pool a lot more fun for you under pressure, which is going to add up to more money. Let's say that you're a player and you're now practicing 4, 5, 6 hours a day, maybe 7 days a week. What I would like to do is retrain you to be very precise in what and how you practice and how you approach practicing. I believe it's possible to become a lot more fruitful if we focus our practice in shorter periods of time. There may be certain things you need to work on, you need to improve on, that might take a little longer. But what I'm saying is your average day-to-day practice routine, I would like to get you down to maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. But I would like for that to be very focused, and to where you're really focused on what you're doing, and you're really learning with every shot you do. And if you do that, I believe you can become a better pool player by practicing less, not more. And I would love to have a chance to show you how to do that. Lastly, when I developed the scientific stroke, which is going to be a new term that a lot of you on the circuit will probably know in a few years, because you'll be running into different people who are using it. But the real purpose of the scientific stroke is to train you to play with your subconscious brain. Your subconscious brain really knows how to play. You've heard of playing in the zone. I'm sure every one of you has played in the zone at one time. And what that means is, for that period of time, you quit consciously playing pool. Your subconscious brain kind of took over. And maybe that's when you ran 5, 6, 7 racks in a row without a miss. And it felt easy. I mean, you just felt like your brain says, I don't think I could ever miss a shot. And it didn't, okay? What I want to do with the scientific stroke and other things is to retrain the way you play pool and the way you use your mind while you play pool. And I want you to play using your subconscious brain. When you're playing pool with your subconscious brain, you're going to be very difficult to beat, trust me. So a lot of you that get involved with me as your pool instructor, and as we go forward, then I'm going to try to retrain you to play as much as possible with your subconscious brain. I think it's going to help you not only have more fun playing, but it's going to be able to enable you to play at a very high level under pressure, which is huge. The last thing I'd like to cover with you, I know that you're a touring pro. I know you've probably had other professional instructors probably help you with your game. Some of you are going to give me an opportunity to help you, and some of you are not, and I understand that. But I just want you to know something, that winning is not coming to you. You know, that top 10 ranking in the world is not coming to you. You're going to it. So if what you're doing now is working for you, let's say your game is progressing at the pace that you want it to progress from week to week, month to month, year to year, well then you're already on a good path, okay? But let's say your game is not progressing the way you want it to, or maybe it's stagnated. Maybe you're even getting worse than you were before. Well then, basically, what do you have to lose? You don't really have anything to lose. And so winning's not coming to you, you're going to it. And if you're going to it, I would like to help you go there. So if you give me a holler, I'd be more than happy to become your pool instructor and help you take your game to the next level.